Chris Green.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the BoF podcast.
Thank you.
This is the first time you and I have met.
It is.
And I'm really pleased to have you here. Congratulations on being included on our list of the best fashion stores in the world.
Thank you.
I am so curious to learn about how you do what you do and how you have created this store that's built such a strong reputation in such a short period of time. But first, I want to learn a bit about your background, as always. And it's my understanding that you actually started your career or your education in a military college. Is that right?
Yeah, I did go to military school. Yeah.
Okay.
I went to it's a public military school.
And you grew up where?
In Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's actually where I started in the industry with, at the time it was called Blues. So I started in 1997 at Blues and it evolved into Need Supply.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like employee 3.
How old were you
4.
in 1997?
I was 16 at the time. 16 at the time.
So that was your first job?
That was one of my first. Yeah, I actually worked at a few places in retail. I did some backstock at Abercrombie and Fitch at the mall.
Okay. So you weren't one of the naked guys in the front with your shirt off?
No, heck no. No, I was in the back. But I got linked up with Blues, and it moved from it was like a college store. It was recycled denim. It was 2 founders who were running it, Chris Basola and Jason, and they were doing something that nobody in that town was doing. They're buying used denim, selling it at a premium, recycled Levi's, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was pretty...
Which was really cool back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s, I used to go, when I grew up in Calgary, to get like vintage denim, I'd go to Value Village.
Yeah.
But you could buy a pair of amazing 501 jeans for like $5.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think those guys started it because they didn't want to work for anyone else.
Yeah.
They wanted to work for themselves.
Yeah.
And then it moved into a popular shopping district in Richmond called Carytown. And then it evolved. It turned into contemporary brands. So we were carrying Miss 60 and Diesel and Nudie and things like this. And then it branched out of just like the vintage. And we still always had like a little section of vintage, but it started to branch out into more contemporary brands.
Right.
So they started traveling to New York and buying, and I worked in the shop, and that was like my first exposure to what this industry is.
So why go to military college?
I was an athlete. I went to run, and that's why. And I went to normal college for 2 years first and realized that I needed a little bit more structure and a little bit more,
rules.
Yeah. At that time. Yeah. I needed a little bit more rules and I felt like that environment would help me out, and it did. But I studied finance and economics there. It's a normal liberal arts college, but you happen to be wearing uniform all the time.
Yeah.
And you have strict rules your first year. They get a little bit more lenient as you go on until your senior year. But yeah, it's definitely not for everyone.
Got it.
And it was an experience. I don't think I'd do it again, but I'm glad I did it.
So that's interesting. So like if we were taking the intersection of your experience in the retail store with your experience studying finance and economics in a military college, tell me how those 2 things shaped who you are today and how they impact the way you run your business.
Yeah, I do think a little bit of that touches what I do every day. I think specifically being in the store is super important. I'm still in the store. I'm in the store almost 6 days a week. And that portion is like the customer side of it and understanding who the customer is, how they're interacting with product. I think that's huge. And when I was working at Need Supply at the time from 97 to 2008, it didn't have e-commerce. So it was traditional Rolodex, know your customer, know their life, know what they have in the closet. It's a different tier in at that time than what I'm doing now in terms of price. And it was men's and women's. So I'm doing just men's, or, the focus is men's. We do have female clients, but the focus is menswear. But that portion influences a lot because that thought process I have is physical first, and the experience the customer has from the scent, the lighting, everything, the little details within the shop. I want it to feel like how the shop felt in the past.
Yeah.
And then the finance side of it is, I'm fiercely independent. I don't have a backer. It's just self-funded. I want to keep it that way forever. I know kind of what scale I have in my mind where I want to be. I'm okay with flex on that scale and being very rigid in how I run the financial side of it. I look at my EBITDA. I look at all of that costing, which is the, unsexy side of buying and having a shop, but it's the most important side of it, is making sure that there will be a next month and a next month and a next month and a next month, and you're hitting those markers. And if you don't hit those markers, how much room do you have to breathe within those markers? If you're exceeding those markers, what are you going to be doing with that cash? The quote unquote excess cash, because there's never really excess cash in this industry. This is a very challenging industry to actually make money.
Yeah.
Especially being independent, and especially not having outside financing or, again, scale, because my scale is to a certain point, which I know, and I'm comfortable with that. And that's what I really love about it, is that I know my scale gets to a certain point and that's where it stops.
There's a limit.
Yeah. Which I'm good with.
Yeah.
And I think what I've seen through my working career is that most people want to set no limits or boundaries on what they want to do, and they want to continue to scale. And I think that's where a lot of places run into trouble, is that they're so obsessed with scale, they lose a lot of what makes them special because they want to scale.
Yeah.
And that becomes the benchmark rather than the service being the benchmark or the experience being the benchmark.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I have this a little bit slower mentalities. I want those to be the benchmarks. I want the experience to be the benchmark.
Yeah. Just now you used the word feeling. I think it's such an important word when it comes to retail. And I've been lucky to visit a lot of the stores on this list.
Yeah.
Not your store yet.
Not yet?
But I'll be there. And you do get a feeling when you walk into these stores. You do get the sense that there's a storekeeper almost, a merchant, an owner, a founder who's the beating heart of the place, who knows the clients, who knows. So tell me about why you left a very successful career in other retailers and why you decided to create your own thing, knowing that this is such a hard business, and independent stores, they're so vital to our ecosystem, our fashion ecosystem, but they're amongst the most challenging parts to make work.
Yeah, it's funny. I would say a lot of our industry is not built on the strength of boutique. In the ethos and the idea, people want to say it is, but most places are having to be built for scale. And I have that same idea when the beauty of brick and mortar and the beauty of boutique is that there is a master curator for that space. You can associate with them or don't associate with them. You can feel something when you walk in or don't feel something when you walk in, but that's the beauty of it, is that you can tell there's a point of view within that realm. And I feel like, as web took off, as these big online partners came on and ate up the market share, they kind of dulled that story a little bit, but that story's always been super important. And when COVID hit and you saw all these businesses falling to the wayside, that's why the boutique was still there, because at the core of it, they have values, and at the core of it, they have a customer that's so highly engaged that if they can handle the flex of the economy, or they can handle the flex of trend, they're going to be around. And I might walk into a store and not identify with the product that's in there, but I can appreciate the curation. I can appreciate the idea of like why they're doing that certain thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, when I opened this venture, I mean, I looked for a long time at spaces. I looked at a long time for.
So you always wanted to do this?
Yeah, I think I've always in my head wanted to have my own space.
Yeah.
And my own idea, because what I was doing with Need Supply and Totokaelo was wonderful, and they're beautiful spaces. But when we took on a broader ownership group, again, it commercialized and it lost the true feeling and soul of what it could be. The brick and mortars were great, but the digital platform became, how do we sell to as many people as possible, rather than how do we focus on our top clients and giving them the experience digitally that we can give them in store, which I feel like a lot of places can't do, because it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to understand who your online client is versus your in-store client.
Yeah.
Because the online client's not going to give you as much feedback.
Mm-hmm.
They might purchase, but that purchase isn't the true feedback.
Mm-hmm.
The true feedback is the interaction before and after the purchase. It's not just the purchase.
Yeah.
It is the communication before and after.
It's a relationship.
Yeah, correct.
It's like any relationship.
It's any relationship.
It's not a transaction.
No.
It's a relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I was so adamant about, was like, I really want it to feel like a place that I want to come into and I want to spend time in. And if I create that, then internally that's fulfilling for myself. And if people want to share that with me, even better.
Great.
If I want to have a customer come in and interact with that and they identify with it, amazing.
Fantastic.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And it just depends, sliding scale of like, what does that mean financially? So yeah, right now the business is, it's great. It's very successful. It's doing really well. But if it was smaller, it would also be great. Because it's that fulfilling nature of like, this is what I want to create. I mean, we have pain points. I mean, as any place would.
Yeah.
Operationally things aren't perfect. They hopefully will be perfect, constrained by space, because New York is small and spaces are small and very expensive and things like that. So like, in a perfect world, we would do some things differently, but we're doing what we can with what we have. And that's all I can ask for from like ourselves internally, is continue that and continue to show up and be as great as possible to our customer.
So back to the feeling.
Yeah.
What's the feeling you want people to have when they come into your space?
I want them, comfort is one of the biggest things. I want it to be, and I find like with the fashion industry, there's like always barriers. There's always levels. There's always more.
Hierarchy.
Yeah. There feels to be like this big hierarchy. It's like, oh, you can go to this showroom or you can go to this runway show. You can't go to this one, or you're invited to this party. You're not doing this thing. And I don't want that feeling in my space. And that comes with myself, the staff, the coloring of the wall, the hangers in the store, the scent. I want it all to be welcoming, and I want it to be warm. And that's why I like the reflection of like, I took a lot of the materials from my own house that's in the neighborhood. And I was like, if I apply this to a retail setting, I'll be comfortable in it. And if I'm comfortable, then I can purvey that to the customer so they can feel my comfort and they can match that same energy. And, the goal is for the spaces to be comfortable. It's to feel a bit homely. It's not supposed to be perfect and pristine and like one article of clothing, one article. And so neat and perfect, I don't love that feeling. I like to be surrounded by product. I'm a product person, very tactile. I love product. And
so you want it to be full.
I want it to be full all the time. I want it to be full and I want it to feel good. And I want people to almost like, if you think about like, oh, I went into a great vintage bookshop or I went into a great record store, which they don't have a lot of those anymore. Yeah. But you could stay and hunt for hours. Yeah. That's the same thing.
I saw the average dwell time in your store is 2 hours.
Yeah. It's about 2.5 hours. Yeah. And the thing is like, you can come in and choose to hunt by yourself or you can hunt with us. And the staff, they're great. And it's hard to get great staff today. And, we do a really good job of picking who that is. So they are also product hounds. They love product.
Yeah.
And they like to talk about it, and they like to do research on it. And like, that's the beauty of it. And we carry like a lot of these niche little brands that they start with fabrication, which is so important.
Okay. So I have so many things that you've just like blown up in my brain that
I'm
I want to
sorry.
ask you about. No, it's the best thing. It's my favorite thing about these conversations. So first of all, so you decide to open your own space.
Yeah. And in my neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
Correct.
Tell me what happened when you found this.
So funny enough, I found a space that was a few blocks up that I was in love with. I mean, could not mentally get enough of it. I had these plans of what I wanted to look like. It was an old bodega. The owner was closing down. She had run it for 30 some years. She still owns the building. And I had this idea for it. It was like a straight shot old New York bodega. And then my broker who was helping me with it was like, I know this other space is out of your planned budget, but like you should look at it. It's a corner space. There's a farmer's market on the weekend. And I looked at it and I was like, what was I even thinking? This is the spot. And I felt it right when I walked in. It's got 6 windows. So it's got windows on 2 corners, which is really rare in New York. It's just 3 steps down from street level, but it still feels street level. And I couldn't ask for anything more.
Okay, so you knew instantly.
Right when I walked in, I almost gasped because I'd been in that location before. It had been multiple things in the neighborhood in the past. It was a yoga studio, it was a kid's store. And when I walked in, I was like, oh my God, I saw exactly what I wanted to do with it. And I had this picture in my head. And I actually, through a friend, met someone who was a 3D renderer. And I just sat with her for a couple hours and just like was spinning ideas out. And she created this beautiful rendering. And then when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly it.
Got it. How did you make the budget work?
Yeah, I mean, again, this industry is so hard. It's cash dependent, and which is really strange. Like, I'll gripe for a second.
Yeah,
as a boutique, I feel like even though I feel boutiques are what makes brands so strong and relevant in marketplaces, we don't get the benefit of that because we're having to pay up front. We're having to do, like right now we're receiving fall product. I'm paying deposits for spring 27 plus paying for fall at the same time. So I'm paying like a season and a half worth of cash going out the door.
Yeah.
And whereas like majors, they're getting net 90s, they're getting discounts, they're not paying on time, they're stretching brands to the umph because they're able to help that brand hit unit minimums. Yeah. Whereas like the boutique is actually the one who's giving you relevancy with the true customer.
And the boutique is the one who's going to stand by you.
Yeah, correct.
And
who's going to stand by you when things don't go great. And they're going to be like, you know what? I love the relationship that we have.
Yeah.
And I believe in what you're doing. Let's go another season. Let's get it to work.
Right.
Where the other ones are like, oh, the margin's not there. I need money back, or I need X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Or, and it makes it really challenging. But I had the space for 8 months before we ever opened. So 8 months dead space.
Okay, well, that's a great segue to my next question.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to get the space, figure out the money.
I sat in the space empty for 3 months before any work happened. I literally would go there every day and sit for an hour and just sit in the space and close my eyes and be like, is this how I want it to look? Is this the finishing?
Important, because that's what I wanted to ask you about, which is like when you have a blank space and you get to make it your own.
Yep.
And you know the feeling that you want people to have. You go about creating it. The next biggest question is like, which brands you're going to put in there? Talk about the curation.
The creation side of it is evolving still to this day.
Yeah.
And it will always evolve. And when I have notes in my phone from 10 years ago of like what my ideal brand matrix would be. And I still look at them. And
do you remember what was on that brand matrix?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I've got. It's so different than what it is.
Well, tell me what it
was a little bit more.
and then how it's
Yeah,
changed.
I think it's the way it's changed is how I've aged and how I've developed my taste, and I think that's every consumer.
Yeah.
But when I initially looked at it, there was a little bit more commerciality to the brands, and a little bit more price sensitivity to some of the brands.
In the
In the first iteration. Yeah, in the first iteration.
Because
it was a different time.
Come on,
different
get
time.
specific.
It was a different time,
Yeah.
you know?
What time? It was 10
it was like
years ago.
2017.
So pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Who's on that list?
I mean, pre-COVID on that list, like I had APC on that list at pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Which, I was like, okay, APC is like a very viable, good business, good denim product, core stuff that they could continue to do. And now if I look at that, it's like APC is still great. It's still a wonderful brand. There's still room for it, but not in the direction that I'm going and not what I'm trying to do. But it's still great for other places.
So what denim would you have now?
I mean, Orslo is a great example of a denim brand that, like, for the last 5 or 6 years, that would have always been on the list.
Yeah.
But there's a way where it's interesting because Orslo, if you look at the price point versus the row that I carry, or say a pair of jeans from a small brand called Uncruid.
I love that brand.
We're obsessed. It's such a wonderful brand. They're such wonderful people to work with. They're amazing craftsmen.
I have one of their shirts.
Yeah, they're amazing craftsmen.
Yeah.
And they do such a good job. But the price disparity between those two brands is so great, but it makes sense in my world that you can wear those two brands together. I mean, I think the funniest thing is, like, I carry Bass Weejuns. Mm-hmm. And Bass Weejuns is $137 shoe out the door.
So it's not necessarily about price alone.
It's not. But Bass Weejuns sits right next to the row.
Yeah.
And there's a world that it works. And that's in my world. Okay. And in my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, you can wear a row suit and you can wear a pair of Bass Weejuns.
What are your other favorite brands right now that are really resonating with your customers?
I mean, my Kamole is one of my personal favorite brands.
I don't know that brand. Tell me about it. Kamole, COMOLI.
Italian? No, it's actually Japanese. So Kijiro Komori-san, he's been doing the brand around 12 years now.
Okay.
It's
Tokyo.
He's based in Tokyo.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's man, it's hard to describe exactly why it's so special. Of course, every Japanese brand, there's such a care in the initial fabrication.
So which Japanese world is it? Is it in the Yoji world? Is it in the Taiga Takahashi
Is
world?
it
in the Sakai world?
No, I think it's honestly like
its own world.
Its own feeling. It almost feels a little bit like Rick Owens.
Okay.
But it has a little bit more baseline military, baseline Americana. But I mean, as he's progressed through his years of designing, he's really been hitting a stride the last 6 years.
Okay.
But almost everything is black or white. That's it.
That gives me a sense of the brand mix. Tell me about the guys and girls coming into your store. Like, what you clearly have ended up with a higher price point that maybe you initially imagined.
Then I think I didn't expect at first.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I'm not too focused on. I want to be luxury or I want to be contemporary. I want to find that balance. There's things that I look at showroom or when I'm doing the buy, I'm like, that feels very expensive for what it is. There's places that I'm willing to take that risk. And there's places where I'm like, that feels like really good value. But that's not my initial thought. My initial thought when I go in is it's very tactile. It's what's it made of? What does it feel like? How does it drape? How does it last? My thing is lasting.
Yeah.
It's got to last. It can't be a one season thing. Right. I hate one season clothing.
Yeah.
And that's how I do my assortment. And my assortment, there's that thin red line that goes in between everything. It's like you can wear Dries with Taiga, with Kamole, with Uncruid, with the row, and you're not going to look like you're shopping at a swap meet.
Yeah.
They all can go together.
Yeah. Because you're
And
creating a wardrobe.
I am.
Yeah.
And our customer, I think, is really starting to understand that.
Mhm.
Like, I won't have all the poppy colors. Like, we buy Orly. We do a great job with Orly. They're wonderful. They're amazing. But we don't buy all the like super bright stuff from Orly because that's not me. And it starts with me. If I don't identify with it, it's not going to be in the shop.
So is it a very monochromatic palette in your store?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes lots of browns,
Okay.
lots of blacks. I'm scared of navy a little bit, so we don't have too much
You're
navy.
scared
Yeah,
of navy.
personally, I'm not a big navy guy.
Okay.
So I lean more black, charcoals, browns.
Yeah.
But we're starting to work some navy in there where I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Like even like in my private label, we have a private label line. And that we've started to like put some navy in there. I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of working. I kind of like, I mean, I know like from the commercial aspect and from my past, I know navy is like top for everybody, whatever.
It also looks best on camera.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, sometimes it just misses the edge that I want from it.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets lost in
Any
a lot of
bright
places.
colors?
Yeah, we do some bright colors. And I will take some risk where I'm like, oh, people are like, wait, what? Oh, we had this amazing bright orange Casey shirt in there. We have an amazing bright orange Casey cashmere hoodie coming in, and it's going to shock our customer because they're going to be like, oh, I didn't expect that from you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, all black with the bright orange hoodie is going to look great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we take color risk from time to time, but it's not across everything, you know?
Okay.
Like if last season I was really feeling mustard yellow, like that yellow. So I got it in places, but it wasn't, I got it from everybody, but I got it in the places that I felt like it was the most impactful.
You got the best one.
I feel like for me.
Yeah.
For me.
And so the guy who's like, tell me about, like, you're in Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn.
We're in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn.
Pretty like upscale neighborhood nowadays, right?
It is. Yeah. We lived in the neighborhood 16 years, and love the neighborhood. So shop's just a few blocks from the house, which is nice. A few blocks from the school for the kids, which is great. So I tend to like just kind of do a loop all day. But the neighborhood, there's a lot going on in that neighborhood. There's a lot of great people who live in that neighborhood. A lot of diverse backgrounds, cultures, a lot of people who work in a lot of interesting industries live in Carroll Gardens. If you think about it, it's like only 5 stops from Soho.
Mm-hmm.
It's really quick to get to Soho. You got the F train and G train. So it's like really good pulse into Manhattan or Brooklyn, like Williamsburg, things like that. Our customer mix has been fantastic. We have some of the coolest people, unimaginably cool people that shop there that are like, you get the barrier down and to have like a good solid conversation. They're such good people.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see.
What's so amazing to me about these kinds of stores, the ones we featured on this list, you know, I think about my neighborhood here in London, where I've lived on and off for almost continuously for 26 years. We used to have matches.
Yeah.
On Ledbury Road.
Mm-hmm.
And
I went to that matches when I was open.
That matches was like part of the fabric of the neighborhood. Like I knew the salespeople there. Yeah. They knew me. It was part of the experience of living in that neighborhood. So even if I was going out to get a coffee, it didn't feel like a big trek or a big deal to just like pop in and say, I wonder what they've got that's new.
Yep.
Or they would know that if I was coming in, that they got something new that I might be into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and by this point, there's multiple matches stores.
Yeah.
But they hadn't gone the full digital push.
Yeah.
And then, of course, matches got valued at like £1 billion, and it became this big thing. And then, you know, it doesn't exist anymore. And that space on Ledbury Road in my neighborhood is still boarded up and nothing's happening in there. And it's like this big gaping hole in my experience of that neighborhood. So all of that to say that these stores can be like the beating heart of a neighborhood, really great neighborhood. And without it, Yeah, the neighborhood
You-
does. Like we've had lots of other
Yeah.
things open, and we've had great restaurants open, but we have not had a great multi-brand retailer
Yeah,
open.
you lose a little bit of something.
Yeah,
And we have people like that who come by all the time just to chat,
yeah,
that's the best part of it.
yeah.
It is like the honesty and the conversation that really matters, which
Yeah.
I think is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about your strategy around digital, because I think there's been a
Yeah.
very explicit decision,
Yeah.
perhaps based on previous experience.
I think so. I think one of the, like, going through the closing of Need Supply and Totokaelo, working through that was, I mean, probably the hardest, lowest point of my career.
Because you started there when you were 16.
I started working there. I came and went a few times. I came back. I oversaw all the buying and merchandising for both Need Supply and Totokaelo. And then when the group made the decision to close it down in 2021, it was tough. I had a great team, built a great merchandising team, had to let them go and like buy layers, and then dealing with vendor payments. I had to do all of that. And that's such an awful feeling when you have to go to vendors and be like, hey, we have this amount outstanding. We can only pay a portion. And having to do that really still sits with me. The feeling of like, okay, I want to be able to make these people whole. They're my partners. And since it's just me, it's taking that feeling to a different level,
Right.
to a higher level. And I don't want to experience that again. I want to know that what my scale is and keep it in a way so I don't have to experience that again, because I don't think that's
And you think digital leads to the temptation
It
to
does.
start catering to everybody.
It does. And I do think like there is a way that we could go digital. There's a way we could do it. There's a way that I could see it working or having to do it, but not yet. Not now. I think we're still so young. We're still figuring out what our foothold is. There's still so much more that we can do with our in-person clienteling. There's still so much being done there. I think if we were to do digital, I think it would be for our private label, which is our best brand in the store. It's the brand that we sell the most of. It's it's wonderful. And we get to have a lot of fun with it. Designing that stuff is great. Like we make, we use Japanese fabrics. We make in Italy. We make in the US. We're starting to make in Japan. So like we're doing fun stuff and testing the waters. If we do digital, like that would be the next step. Would be just for the private label, so people can experience that part of it. But I still think the store and the curation of the store is just so special that you have to come. And once you come once, you're customer for life. I'll ship you. That's fine. We'll definitely.
Yeah, and I guess you can do like virtual selling.
We
on
do.
messaging.
We do a ton of that.
Yeah,
and we, some of our best clients are bi-coastal, so shipping them to LA. Always in communication with people, sending them photos of new arrivals. We take really really bad photos of everything that comes in, but we're able to get anybody the information they need for the stuff that we carry. Full on website, it just doesn't really interest me. I just feel like I love a little bit of mystery. I love having to actually go and interact. Again, physical with product, touching the product. The minute you go digital, you lose that. It becomes less special.
So one way to grow is to sell more to people coming into your store.
Yeah.
The other way to grow is to launch digital.
Yeah.
Another way to grow is to open other locations.
Yep.
Would you ever think about that? A number of the stores on our list that have been around for a bit longer than you.
Yeah.
The Kirna Zabets.
Yeah.
Or the Arts and Science in Tokyo.
Yeah. Arts and Science is so great. Yeah.
They start with one location and they scale by keeping the small store, but they open in another neighborhood or in another city.
Yeah.
Is that something you would do?
It's something we would do. I'd be way more interested in opening physical retail elsewhere. again, I don't want to go into a saturated market.
Yeah.
I want to be respectful of stores and their tenure and what they've done in that market. I wouldn't want to go in and be like, okay, we need a store in LA. I think LA has amazing stores.
Favorite stores in LA?
Oh, I mean, I've got so many.
Okay.
Departmento is a favorite store. Noodle Story is a favorite store. Mohawk General is a favorite store. They do such a good job.
Yeah.
They do such a good job. So like, there's no need to do that.
Yeah.
If we were to open another outpost, Upper East Side, Upper West Side would be great. Upper East Side would be amazing.
We just did a store on the Renaissance of Madison Avenue.
Yeah.
I was walking there last week, actually, and you can feel that's another neighborhood.
It is.
That's this idea.
We haven't tapped into to anything. Honestly, like if you look at what we've done, it's been amazing, but nobody knows us.
Yeah.
Nobody knows us.
And starting to change though. You're building a reputation.
But the thing is like at the core of it, there's so many potential great clients that they don't know us and are just discovering us. I mean, I'm so shocked every week we have someone new who's never been in, who's like, oh my God, this is what I was looking for, which is an amazing feeling to have. And we actually just did a nice little renovation. I close the shop every summer and give the staff holiday, and that's when I work on the store. So we were closed in July for 10 days, and I was able to take our back stock out, make the store about 350 square feet bigger. So we now have a little bit more room for people to move around. We have a whole nother 25-foot rail that was put in there. So it feels so much more open, which again, I'm trying to give that feeling, like nice home feeling to it. Yeah.
What do you think are the criteria for what makes a great? I mean, we came up with our own criteria for this.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I think honestly, like if you can feel the thoughtfulness in it, it's going to be a great store. Whether or not you identify with the curation, if you can feel that there is a strong, passionate point of view of what the person's doing, that's what's most important. Because I mean, I'm extremely passionate about what we do. I mean, I love it, and I wouldn't want to do anything else. So if you can convey that in your space and your experience, then it to me, it's like, it'd be hard to fail if you can really do those things and capture those things. The minute you start chasing other ideas that aren't yours, or chasing a feeling that is being emitted from someone else and trying to copy that, that's when you lose hold of what you are and what makes you special. And that's when people can start to sense that and feel that, oh, this is not authentic. This feels more like X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Rather than like this place feels singular to this environment.
And that's so important. And it's such a differentiating factor right now, because I did a bit of touring through some big US department stores last week in New York. And I walk in there, I get the proposition, which is like everything in one place, and you don't have to like, but it feels pretty anonymous, and I don't know. Like, I think if you're gonna have an anonymous retail experience, you can just do that online.
You can do that online, yeah.
But something is telling me that people like going into stores,
people
and people
love
want
going into stores.
a nice experience, and they want those feelings. They want that curation. I personally want to discover a brand I've never heard about. Like, that's how I came across Uncreed, because I found it at Mookie Moo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Or maybe it was Neighbor.
So Neighbor and Mookie Moo we carried as well. Yeah. They have very few stockists in the world.
I know, because I couldn't find my size, and I was trying to message them on Instagram. But I think that sense of discovery is really important. So if you're an emerging brand, founder, designer, I think stores like yours are like a really, really interesting, safe, high quality route to the market. I want you to give advice to those brands who are looking to get stocked in a store like yours. I know it's based on your point of view, your aesthetic.
It's my aesthetic, but there's brands in there that most people, if they looked at me, they'd be like, why do you like that brand?
Yeah. But what do you look for, what do you look for in a brand separate from your aesthetic? Like,
Yeah.
what gives you the confidence with an emerging brand?
I think honestly, it's care. The care and effort that's going into the collection. If someone has something to actually say, that's super important to me. So I think of like, we carry Obero, Julie and Louis, small brand.
Mhm.
If you looked at that aesthetic and looked at me, you wouldn't identify the two.
Mhm.
If you looked at my brand list and saw that on there, it would be kind of like an outlier of like, oh, that's interesting. Wonder why that's in there. And I identify with what he's doing, and I feel the care, the passion, the artistry that he's making. I'm like, okay, I can identify with that. I really appreciate that. I like it a lot. And that's, for me, it's like, that's why I want to have it within what we do.
But is it also, oh, and I have a customer that I think would be interested in it?
Not always.
No.
No, not always. So we're working with like a couple like really small individual makers. We're working with this young Japanese artist who hand weaves the fabric first and then hand makes the shirt. I'm not buying that for a specific customer. I'm buying that for the craft. It's literally a piece of art. He is individually making a piece of art by hand weaving the fabric. He's not buying bulk fabric. He's not getting woven for himself. It's all short run. He's making 2 shirts at a time. That, to me, the artistry of doing that is so special.
Yeah.
If you saw it on the rail just sitting there, you might not know that it was all handmade from start to finish. Once you touch it and put it on, then you understand that portion of it. So for me, that stuff is special. That artistry portion of it is really special. And my goal is to find those items that I think adds to what we do, because that's never a volume game.
Right.
You know, that's not a commercial aspect of, oh, I can sell 5 of those to X, Y, and Z, or I have this perfect item for this one customer. Now, if we bring it into the shop and we're excited about it, people will identify with it.
Yeah.
And
because you'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Your team will talk about
it.
it.
Correct. And we'll be excited about it. And I will have to say that our customer is extremely savvy, so smart, and really, really loves product. We have very few people who are just like, oh, I'll take whatever, because, you know, there are people who actually really care about the craft, which I think is so nice.
Yeah.
You can't get that digitally. I mean, yeah, there's message boards and forums and all that for that, but like when they come in and in person and do it, it's such a nice experience.
There's nothing that compares to that.
Yeah.
That feeling.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that feeling. And I love seeing people like, you know, come in with their guard up and have all these different thoughts about the space. And then when they come in, it's like so different.
Yeah.
And you can actually see it in their face and their mannerisms and their and how they carry themselves. And then you can see their guard coming down to where they want to communicate. It's such a nice feeling.
What do you look for in a employee, someone on the shop floor?
I just want, I know it, which is really challenging. No one's going to share the same level of passion, care, and dedication that I'll have. But if I can just sprinkle that on some of them, then great. And if they show like that care, even better. That's what I'm looking for, is someone who is hungry, wants to learn, wants to be involved. Because, you know, a lot of places, as you scale, you get sectored off into speciality. Yeah. We have a buyer. You can't talk to the buyer, give suggestions to the buyer, because that's the buyer's job. We have someone who's doing planning, who's just the financial side of it. You have someone who's just doing the visual merchandising.
Siloed, so
it's very siloed, so they're not talking to each other. I'm really open. I want to hear from my team. What do you think about what we're talking about? What do you think about how the store is laid out? What do you think about what can we do better? Like, what are you seeing from the customer? What are the pain points? What do you think about the assortment? Where do we fall flat? What do we miss based off of everything you've seen from this brand? So like, if we have Orly come in, what did we miss that you guys saw, that you liked, that we didn't buy? Let me hear it. When we go out to market, we internally share all the photos with everybody on the staff so they can see it. So everybody puts comments, likes, hearts, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that dictates what I do, but I look at it.
It informs it.
Yeah, and I take it in, and there's some things in there I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like they're really liking this thing that like I might have initially put in the line. I might not put on the order, but I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where they're going with that. I understand that.
So you're looking for people who have an opinion too.
Yeah. And again, I want people who want to do more within this industry. I know, and the hard part is, since I don't have such a large platform, I can't be like, okay, your path to VP is this. Now I can't do that. Maybe I can in 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe we do grow in 10 years to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully I have employees that have been there that long and put in a tenure. Because I think about like the time I put into Need Supply. I started the shop. I worked in the warehouse. I worked in the photo studio. I did buying and merchandising. So like I've done all the little steps to now get to where I am now. So that's 30 years of doing that to be able to then own my own space.
Yeah.
I have employees that want to open their own store. Great. Learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
Just don't open in New York.
Yeah. And 10 years from now,
yeah.
What do you imagine this could become, Pen Space?
I just want it to be synonymous with like an amazing store experience still. I don't want it to lose, and I know it goes ebbs and flows or whatever, based off of trend. I think I want to try and make a place trend proof, just really great product every season after season after season.
It's interesting. We have some stores like that on this list that have been around for like a long time.
Andreas Mercutus.
Exactly.
Trend proof.
Right?
Yeah. Best store in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the best stores in the world.
Yeah.
Like phenomenal. And he's been doing it forever.
And now you're in his company.
I mean, so I actually, funny enough, I went on a trip with him.
Yeah.
We got sponsored to go on a trip to Japan in 2014 together. And we had to do a panel and a talk and all this stuff. And I think we crossed over for maybe like 20 minutes and that was it. That was it for the whole trip. But yeah, he was super kind and amazing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you. I mean, I'm so grateful to you and all of the owners and founders and operators of these stores are all around the world because they make our industry so much more interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to my annual trip to Tokyo because some of my favorite stores in the world are...
Yeah, there's some great shops there.
Oh, I mean, maybe the best shopping city.
I think so too. And I think the beauty of it is see, it's different. Whereas New York, it's so exorbitantly expensive to have like leases where you have to have some sort of volume to keep you going, at least on my side, being, self-financed and all that kind of stuff. I kind of have to not fail.
Yeah.
In Tokyo, the cost is very different.
Yeah.
And you can have a much smaller space and it can be extremely specialized and it can be extremely light on product. And they can do that forever, which is amazing. And I think that's the mentality of how I like the brands that I want to work with. I want to continue to work with brands like that have that same mentality. There's no rush to be gigantic. The rush is just to be as good as you possibly can be, which I feel like the US market isn't built on that, but it could be.
Well, I think it's changing and customers certainly respond to that.
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, great to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for popping by.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Thanks.